Good evening, welcome to the Swiss Alps. David and I are going to try and combine a bit of basic mountaineering with some photography today. We're going up onto this ridge over here, which is the Schwarzgrat from Oberrothorn out towards Pfulve, and have a look along the ridge, see if there's anywhere nice to take a photograph. So as we're moving along the ridge here, I've been keeping my eye out behind me for compositions. Our plan is to go out along the ridge as far as we fancy and come back, and I'm going to take a photograph hopefully as the sun goes down on the way back. So I'm keeping my eye open for compositions on the way. So this has got potential as the sun dips down behind. Hopefully it'll still catch the ridge, catch this snow. That could be quite nice. I could even put David on top of this peak here just to give it a bit of scale. But before we do that, we're going to carry on along the ridge and just tag the Flughorn up behind us. So this is the Flughorn, fantastic spot to stop for a bite to eat and a drink. Amazing views of all of Zermatt's mountains from the Matterhorn right the way around the Monte Rosa range, Rimfischhorn, and the mountains between us and Saas-Fee on this side over here. Absolutely beautiful, but in terms of the compositions using the ridge that we climbed along, I want to be back down lower and onto that ridge to actually make more of the ridge in the photograph. So going to make our way back, see what we can find. Just before we leave the Flughorn, there's what would seem like quite a nice shot to be had here. I can do it handheld, not getting the tripod out or anything. Then you can see David down on the ridge down there. And I've got the wide lens on, which gets David in the frame, the Oberrothorn, the ridge we've climbed, and the Dom Blanche and the Oberrothorn in the background as well. This rock in the foreground makes quite a nice foreground, but it does mean that in order to get that in, I'm standing pretty close to a very big drop over this way. So standing as careful as I can, I'm shooting straight into the sun. So I'm now taking a photo, the same thing with my hand over the sun to get rid of the sun flare. And between those 6 shots, hopefully something worth looking at. Here you go. Pretty big drop down there, yeah, and down there really. So excuse me not paying attention to you necessarily, but anyway, we're making our way back along the ridge, and I haven't seen anywhere better than that spot that I noticed on the way over here. So we're going to stop there. In fact, I'm nearly there, and the sun looks like it's just catching the ridge up ahead perfectly. I've set up the camera in quite a precarious spot with the leading line of this snowbank. The light is just disappearing from it right now, but the leading line of this snowbank leading up to David, our ridge we've just climbed, leading on from there up to the Oberrothorn and the sun in the top right hand corner. a very narrow aperture to have a big starburst, and actually the starburst helps because that mountain is just a big round hill as opposed to a cool ridge. So if I can cover it up with a starburst, that'll do me. And I think that'll do us for this photo. Hope you like it. Alright, we're at the kind of the last bit of climbing done really. So before we lose any more altitude, we're going to hang out here, wait for the sun to drop down that little bit more. There's no light on any of the rocks around us, so I won't be looking for any foreground. I'm going to put on the long lens and just pick off some of the big peaks we're surrounded by. But right now, the Matterhorn and the Oberrothorn are the only peaks in this direction catching the light, so they're kind of isolated and shining bright amongst the shadow all around them. So I think that might be the first place to point the camera. I'll leave you some of the shots. Thanks ever so much for joining us on the ridge. We're going to make our way 1,500 vertical meters back down to town. And thanks ever so much for watching. See you on the next one. Ciao, Zermatt.
Ciao, Zermatt.